That's much better. Okay. All right. Well, we are live now, and basically, we were supposed to be doing a pass the controller tonight. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get enough people to get a full show going, so we're going to be doing something called pass the controller free play, which is basically whoever shows up, and we just talk about games. We talk about what we're supposed to be talking about in the show tonight, even though we couldn't. But yeah, let's start off with our main topic: the cancellation of Project Titan. Generally, what the heck happened? From what I read, the reason why it was canceled was because the developers didn't really find any fun in the game. Like it was already sent back. It had a lot of development done on it, and then they basically went back on it and just restarted the entire project. So it seems like it was just stuck in development hell for quite some time. And just recently, they basically announced and said, "Yep, game's done. We aren't working on it anymore. Sorry." Even though it was one of the worst kept secrets in gaming right now. But no, what have you heard about it? You hear anything about it?
I've heard similar things about it. I didn't really see any screenshots. They didn't really show anything about Project Titan.
They actually didn't release any screenshots at all about it.
So, I don't even know what kind of fun they're talking about. If it was it supposed to be a shooter, or what was it supposed to be?
It was from what the game, like the article I read on GameSpot and Kotaku, basically the game was supposed to be this sci-fi MMO shooter type of thing, where it's like during the day what your character did was just a general job, and at night you went out and fought monsters and was basically a nighttime hero. Basically, you were a sci-fi Batman.
Sci-fi Batman, but
yep.
How did they not find fun in that? That would be pretty awesome. Just during the day, like you do your job, and then at night you put on your sci-fi glasses and go, "I'm Batman," and then just go do whatever. How could they not find fun in it? I think
maybe they just felt that it just wasn't going to be good enough. Like here, let me take a look. Let me take a look at the article itself. Basically, at the end of May 2013, Blizzard confirmed that Titan was undergoing large design and technology changes. So it was in development for, I guess, too long, and then they just kept having to revamp it and rebuild it, and it just didn't really feel like fun. So it's like, or maybe they just didn't want to do another MMO, or they didn't want to compete with World of Warcraft. I don't know.
Or they didn't want to compete with their other cash cow, that
perhaps
Hearthstone. Like, no one predicted Hearthstone would be huge. Like, that thing exploded.
I don't think it putting the Warcraft name on anything tends to make it usually make it a little bigger. And the collectible card game market is gigantic. Like, whenever I go into like the local shop, there's someone playing Magic almost every freaking time. It's just the concept is great, and now they basically let you collect the cards. They let you do basically everything that you would with a normal with like a normal CCG, except you have Warcraft characters. It's a popular franchise. It has you could buy the booster packs, so you're building your own deck. You're playing the game, and the game itself is actually somewhat competent. And being that it's electronic, they can change things. They can fix the rule system. They could fix any issues that may happen during it. They could fix it right then and there, rather than sending out an errata, like official rule errata or something like that everyone needs to find, everyone needs to get through. With the electronic system, it's somewhat well, I guess you could say it tries to perfect the system. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the CCGs in and of themselves, and the fact that you're paying real money and you don't even have the cards in your hand.
Yeah, that's a little.
I don't like that myself, but a lot of people do. I can understand that a lot of people really like it,
Yeah,
and it just works. So I wouldn't say it was predicted to be as successful as it has been, but I could definitely see that it was going to be somewhat successful. Just to go back on the train of thought.
Yeah. But I think maybe the success of that game and the whole World of Warcraft. I mean, making a new IP is very difficult nowadays in the realm of sequels and spin-offs of the same thing. So, honestly, I don't. The concept sounds really good, though. I don't think they should have gave up on it. They should have brought a demo out and tested it on real people. If they find it fun, but what about their consumers? They could have found it fun. They should have done a test of the game to see if they could still make some money off of it. Because at the end of the day, that's what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
They're making money.
But then again, it's like it feels like they're just sticking to their already established franchises. It's like they don't want to risk creating an entirely new one again.
And that's a shame.
It is. But yeah, reading the article, reading the GameSpot article, it says we didn't find the fun. We didn't find the passion. We talked about how we put it through a reevaluation period, and actually what we reevaluated is whether the game is really what we wanted to be making. The answer is no. So it's like
Warcraft games.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like they just want to keep milking their cash cows. But then again, with a game like StarCraft, they canceled StarCraft Ghost. They canceled Warcraft Adventures. So it's like they aren't afraid to cancel stuff. So it's like I guess they just didn't feel it was going to be on par with something perhaps with what they were aiming for perhaps.
Maybe we'll never know because we'll
pretty
never
much
see it. It's sad.
It is. It is unfortunate, but oh well. But then again, with Destiny just coming out, which is kind of what it was. I guess it might have been aiming for something close to that, in that it was an MMO. It's an MMO and a shooter, and it's sci-fi. So maybe Blizzard just saw what they were doing with Destiny and left it at that, because Activision owns them both, I believe.
Maybe, yeah.
So it's like maybe Destiny took a lot of elements from Titan, minus the whole you have like mundane jobs in the daytime. So
yeah, but I don't know.
We could speculate all day.
Yeah, but I would have loved playing a game like that. But I like superhero games. You know,
Me
one
too.
that you can make your own hero. So after City of Heroes, I'll take anything.
Oh, I miss City of Heroes. That was one of my favorite games.
Yeah, I miss it too. I was really big in the community back then. On the Virtue server.
Yep, I was on there too.
Really? I played a character
Years
named
ago.
Luficia. I was a role player. Yes, I am a role player. And I would just go around pretending she was this cute, bubbly person with dark powers. She was a parody character. Because everyone kept doing dark, brooding parody characters. It's like, okay, here's a superhero with a demon fused to her. She's the happiest person in the world. Oh yeah, and she has a talking sword. Go.
That kind of reminds me of a character from the Fire Emblem Awakening, the mage Henry. He is basically a dark mage who has the most chipper attitude about everything. Like, ooh, yay, blood.
Oh, well, he was happy.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, those characters are fun.
They are a lot of fun.
Yeah. I played that game. Yeah, oh God, I played that game before I started playing World of Warcraft, back in like 2002, 2003, when I was still in high school. I got into the game when they still allowed characters to have 2-letter names, like before they put on the 3-letter cap, or like the 3-letter minimum, Like,
Yeah.
so my character was actually grandfathered in on a few different things that you couldn't see anymore. Like a couple patterns weren't available after a while. Like say like the pattern on the pants, you could actually split it into like the upper leg and the lower leg. So I had like two different patterns on my pants, and they eventually switched it so that it was one pattern the entire way. And so when I was running around to my character, it had something that no one else could have anymore.
So you felt very unique.
Yeah, I had that, and like I said, the name was only 2 letters long. So and they allowed that from at the start. They allowed that. So, but then like say I think in like 2005 or 2006 they put the nix on that because there was really nothing else available because everything was pretty much taken, and they didn't want a guy running around with the letter A the entire way. But yeah, my character was K7, the assault rifle blaster with the ice secondary. So it was fun.
So I miss that game.
Yeah, me too. But the game also did things right. Like while DC Universe is fun, Champions the beta was great, and then they just completely screwed the pooch on release.
Yeah.
That disappointed me. It's like the game had like no content. It was some of the grindiest crap I've ever played. Like more grindy than Destiny. Like almost. I think it wasn't as grindy as say like Final Fantasy 11, or like a Korean MMO. But it was pretty darn grindy because they changed the EXP curve.
And none of the content got you like interested. Like, okay, I'm working with this hero. Who the hell is he? I didn't give a crap.
Yeah, me neither.
I didn't care. But with City of Heroes, like, oh my god, who are these, like, undead guys? I'm bad with names, but, oh my god.
The Circle of Thorns.
The Circle of Thorns, they had the Doctor who wanted to surpass death.
Yep.
Like, oh my god, I love that guy. And when they brought in City of Villains with Lord Recluse, oh my god.
They gave their factions some sort of background. Like, they added lore to the game. Which made it great. They made their own comic universe, which you don't see in Champions. And while DC Universe already has a complete universe, for some reason I just never was able to get into that game. Like I was able to get into City Heroes, I was able to get into World of Warcraft, I was able to get into WildStar, Guild Wars. I was able to get into all of those. I wasn't able to get into DC Universe, which I find to be very disappointing because I love the superhero MMO. I love the create a character. I like creating things down to the minuscule details. I'm the guy who spends like 3 hours just making one character.
That's me too. Just every detail.
Yeah.
It's got to be perfect for what I want to create and play. But
pretty much. So it's and it's like it would be nice if Marvel actually had a superhero MMO coming out that wasn't just like say like Marvel Heroes or I at first thought when Marvel Heroes was being developed I at first thought that was going to be like a DC Universe type MMO. Then it turned out to be just more like a top-down Diablo-esque MMO. Yeah, which the game's fun, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't really rope me in as say something that I could create myself.
Well, I do know that after City of Heroes died, there are 2 spin-offs being made. Like,
really?
When the community, like, I can tell you since I was there, the community was mad. They didn't like the way everyone was fired. I didn't. I actually knew someone who was a really good friend at the time who worked such great content. He got a job as a writer. Yeah, he got a job there. So he lost his job. And
at like NCSoft or Cryptic?
At NCSoft. This is when after the move.
When
they made the mission creator, he did a lot of story work and a lot of stuff on it.
Oh, right.
He was really good at it. And when they noticed and they took him in and they gave him a job. It's like, we really like what you're doing. How would you like to work for us and write the lore in the game? And
that's really cool.
Focused on that kind of stuff, and he got a job there, and he got a lot of good opportunity. But when the game when it crashed, the community split. There were uh, there's one called Heroes and Villains. If you look that up, that's by
Mhm.
some of the people trying to make another MMO, and the other one is called uh, City of Titans. I
Okay.
don't know how far along they are. I know City of Titans did make opened one up, and there's a third one that was made before those two called Valiance Online. They're all haven't made it that far yet, but the closest I think is really close to coming to somewhere. It's called City of Titans. So if you guys are really looking
City of
forward,
Titans. Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of concept artwork. They haven't any screenshots or anything like that yet, but it yeah, City of Titans and Heroes and Villains. But if you guys are really into superhero games, I don't know them too much. I try to follow a little bit, but if you really want to see a revival, those are the two ones to take a look at. And the Phoenix Project, which became the City of Titans. I don't know how far along they are. They had a Kickstarter back in 2013. It's a small project. I really hope it,
Back in 2013. Okay.
I mean, they're really trying. They were from the community. They're really trying to make their own. I haven't heard much else from it yet, but
Oh, I remember seeing this.
yeah,
Oh, it was one of the things I was thinking about jumping in on with the Kickstarter, but one I haven't had too good experiences with Kickstarter because everything I
yeah.
seem to back ends up turning out to be crap, with the exception of Reading Rainbow, which looks awesome.
Reading
'Cause-
Rainbow is the best,
yeah,
but here's
yeah, there's
a
that, and yeah, so it's
that's their website. I mean, they don't have any screenshots yet. We're going on to 2000 and end of 2015, but they're a very small team,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so I really hope they work out. I really hope it works out because I love to see a revival in superhero MMOs with their own lore. I mean, I love DC, I love Marvel, but if you have the passion, make your own lore, like City of Heroes.
All right.
So that's what happened. I really wish them the best. I really do hope it works out.
Well, it says that they're going to at least be releasing a character creator, so that's good.
Yeah,
But then again, they're also aiming to get it into our hands in 2015, and they aren't even at least the FAQ says they aren't even close to the beta. So
yeah. I don't. Yeah, I'm not so sure if they'll make it that far, but I'm really
yeah.
hoping. I really don't want it to fail.
Okay. So, well, journalist, blogger, podcaster. All right, that gives me an idea. All right, yeah. It's an interesting concept, and whoever's watching, I guess check out the site, see what you think of it.
Yeah, just give them support if you believe in it, and just I really want to see it work. I really do. I know there was whispers of City of Heroes coming back, like someone trying to buy it, but it was all in forum posts with a little bit of news. But I'm a skeptic. I don't believe anything until I hear from the official word of mouth.
Yeah, definitely.
But speaking of things that we love to create, there's the whole Sims 4 that I've been eyeing at.
Oh yeah. Well, great segue into the next topic. The next Sims game, which I believe Yahtzee put it best, where in his review on The Sims 4 on how you usually expect a full-fledged sequel to contain more stuff than
Not less.
the previous version. But then again, looking at Sim City when it came out, thank you EA for putting the player first in their minds.
Where do I even begin? Because I loved The Sims 3 a lot. I played that thing to death. I love the fact that everything was open world. Sure, it took time to go from one to the other, but the fact they all had their own lives, there was a whole community of Sims. You can make whole families, pick one you want to stick with, and just see how the generations go. And I enjoyed that freedom, and I liked being able to create my own styles. I was controlling their stories because I could control everything.
Yep.
The Sims 4, I don't know what happened. Just they decided
EA happened.
EA,
But then
they thought, no wonder why they were giving away The Sims 2 for free, because they wanted people to look at that, so the shock of The Sims 4 going back to The Sims 2 wouldn't be so bad. And I haven't played it because I'm not paying $60 to go. I'm not paying $60 for less. I'm sorry.
Yeah, same here.
I'm surprised no one's screaming louder about this. This is terrible.
Well, now the reason why people aren't screaming, they did all their screaming with SimCity. So now it's like you're just going to be yelling at the same crap. And it's like now it's gone past the point of anger, and now it's just like, you know what? I'm just not giving them I'm just not giving them my money. And this gives a golden opportunity to say, like, have another developer create something. Like how Cities XL came out after SimCity 4 didn't really get any updates. So it's like SimCity 4 came out, it's great, wonderful. And then a couple years go by, and people are like, I want a new SimCity, and EA is not doing it because they were working on Sims 3. And now so Cities XL came out, and I played it, and it's actually not bad. It's not as good as SimCity 4, but it's better than the new SimCity. And it seems like they come out with a new version every year, even though it's basically the exact same thing over and over again. It's basically doing the Madden thing, where all they do is change the number and there's a new game.
I wanted the SimCity, but I thought about waiting when I heard it was only online. It's like, I'm not going to wait a minute. I don't have a lot of money. I'm going to wait. And then everything crashed. And then I raised my nephew. He was like 12, 11 at the time. He really wanted it. I had to put my hand on his shoulder and go, let's wait a bit. It's pretty bad. And he didn't want it since. But on to SimCity, not SimCity, The Sims 4, I was really disappointed. I expected something more. Sims 3 was great. How could anyone go backwards? SimCity was great. What are you guys doing?
It's because they want. I guess someone thought that would be a great idea to give you less, so that we have an excuse. So it's basically, we're setting our plan for DLC as we go along. Oh, you want Subways? Give us $20, you can have your Subways. What they're doing is basically chopping off fingers and then selling them back to you.
I don't believe in that. That's a terrible practice. If you're gonna make a game,
it's EA.
It is EA, which makes me a little worried for BioWare's game that's coming out, which is Dragon Age Inquisition, which friends of mine won't stop showing me, and I admit, I'm sold. I kind of want to play it, but I'm a little worried they're going to screw it up after everything else they've screwed up, including this now.
Yeah, well, basically they restocked BioWare's head creative department with people who follow the company line. Like they do with every company that they acquire.
But there's something I have noticed that was very interesting. If you compare the SimCity, not SimCity, I am confusing them both now, the Sims 4 character creator, and then you go to the Dragon Age Inquisition trailer for the character creation, and you show it back to back, you might start seeing a little bit, not all similarities, but you might see some, where some technology was borrowed from it a little bit. At least that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, but that's not surprising.
Yeah, it is. It's not. But I'm people need to stop buying this stuff. They need to look at
well, if you notice their sales records, it's been getting lower and lower. It's like, yeah, I'm not sure if they actually did take a loss from SimCity, but with all the issues that that occurred with it, there was a lot of negative PR, which which hurt sales for everything else.
Yeah.
And with The Sims 4, people just weren't buying it. It's like, well, a lot of people did buy it, but not nearly what they were forecasting. And with the lack of everything that's in there, people weren't happy. And it's like, it's so, honestly, all they had to do was just pretty much do a carbon copy of The Sims 3, except maybe include some of the elements of the expansion packs and release that as its own game.
Yeah.
And that would have sold. It's like they're trying to. It's like, not only are they trying to reinvent the wheel, they're basically trying to reinvent the wheel and then remove the axle and say, yeah, we'll give that to you later for $25 DLC, $30 DLC. It'll be great. Play it first.
But you know what's problem? Is people are buying it. They're doing it because it's working.
You got people who say, ooh, Sims, I want it. Or the people who, it's like the only game that they play is The Sims, because it's essentially dolls. It's kind of like electronic dolls. You get to literally play God.
But you can't drown them in pools anymore. Well, they're putting them back in.
Yeah, they're putting it back in for free. How nice of them.
Yeah, how nice. But, you see, EA can change. Because, yeah, they're a terrible company right now. They weren't always that bad. They were pretty good at one point. What people need to do to stop these kind of tactics is don't buy it. If you don't like this kind of sale tactic, don't give in. Hold out on your money. Say, you know what? I don't like this practice. Here's my wallet. You're not getting access to it. Don't give them the money. If more than enough people do that and make it very clear why they're not buying it, EA might change their tactics, because they're basically going by what's giving them money and what's working. And if it keeps working, they're going to keep doing it. That's why we as consumers have to go, no, we don't like these practices anymore. And don't buy it. Sure, you might not get to play the big super game that you like, but wouldn't you rather have a full game that you get for your full money and only get DLC that they've made after, not just cut it out and sell it as DLC? The only way things are going to change is if we do it with our wallet. Don't buy those kind of tactics. Don't buy those games that do it. Sure, it's bad. A lot of developers suffer, but at the same time, how are we going to make it? How are we going to change it?
But then again, it's like you feel bad for some of the developers, because I'm sure that there are developers within there who see what they're doing, and personally they don't like what's happening, but they can't do anything about it, otherwise they'll lose their jobs. And it's and which way's more, your job or what you want to see in gaming? You don't really. It's kind of hard to do, especially when you're just one person, and it's not a tsunami about it, or start like just start like a tidal wave of change. You're not going to see that with just one person yet.
No.
Especially in this industry, where you're pretty much the AAA companies have most of the advertising and everything by the balls, and it's terrible to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's really terrible, but I think that's why indie games are becoming more frequent and more popular.
Yeah, but then again, it's like, but now there are avenues to do so, like on Steam. Mm-hmm. Also, speaking of which, EA's version of Steam Origin, no one wants to use it because of how invasive it is. Granted, Steam can be quite invasive as well, but they haven't really done anything to betray trust yet. While EA does it on almost a daily basis, and no one wants to install it on their computer. Like after I rebuilt my computer, one of the things I did not add was Origin. So I'm not able to play Mass Effect anymore. I can't play SimCity anymore. I can't play Command & Conquer anymore, or at least the ones that I had on Origin that I essentially got for free because of the whole SimCity fiasco. They actually gave us a free game, and I got to choose I got to choose Mass Effect, which was still a great game, and I find I do absurdly better on a computer than I did on the PlayStation. But it's like I don't want to install it back on my computer because there's a lot of there's a lot of technical issues with it that cause issues on your computer, and no one wants to. And people who know better tend to not put it on their computer, and that hurts the sales. Like, yeah, you could sell the game separately, and if you sell it separately, have it install Origin. But one of the reasons why Sims 3 was so popular is because it was on Steam. It had easy access. It was convenient for the people playing the game.
I think what people need to do, or what these companies need to do in this, put it on all of them. If you're going to have a game on Origin, put it on Steam too. Let someone decide what service they want.
But also kind of going on that, it brings up another thought. It's like if they insist on adding multiplayer to the game, how would it interact between Origin and Steam? If you don't force people to use Origin, you can't really play multiplayer because there's not going to be really anyone. All the multiplayer is going to be on Steam. So, and unfortunately, EA is now just going full on with Origin. And until they fix their freaking system, I can't really touch it. And it sucks because I play a lot of games on the computer. But if an EA game comes out, I'm pretty much forced to get it on, say, like the PlayStation instead. And I'm forced to use a controller forced to use this thing rather than
the keyboard.
Yeah, and even though I feel a lot more comfortable using a keyboard and mouse. Like, the differences between my scores in shooters on the PC than compared to the console is astronomical. I do so much better with the keyboard and mouse.
So do I. It's more fun for me that way, and I don't know how it'll change. I hated Origin in multiplayer. I really did like Mass Effect 3, the multiplayer on it. I actually thought it was a lot of fun. But then again, I liked playing a Krogan and running up to somebody and headbutting the Reapers. Like, come on, my land, here you go.
They did a surprisingly good job with the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer.
They did.
Like, forcing it to be, like, having it as cooperative, that was the biggest thing for me. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of competitive multiplayer because I usually get curb stomped in some games. But I enjoyed the cooperative stuff. Like, I'm one of the few people that actually enjoys working with others, go figure.
Yeah, as do I. And just, like, I'll never forget playing it. I had to play with random strangers because anytime I tried to play with a friend, it would always drop out. I could never play with my friends. And it didn't help that he lived all the way across the world. He was in the UK. I'm in the US, so I don't know what happened. So I had to always play with strangers, and that's not always fun. But it was a lot of fun just being in an area, limited weapons, and the Reapers are coming at you. That's how I met one of those Banshees for the first time.
Those things are nasty.
And when I heard a scream, like, what was that?
But you knew what it was.
I didn't know what it was. Like, what was that? And then this Banshee just comes out of nowhere.
We have a comment agreeing with you with your thoughts with Krogan's. Avenger Jr. says Krogan supremacy.
Yes, Krogan supremacy. I will always play a Krogan. I'm someone who always plays a woman, except if I have the option to play a Krogan. Forget it, I will be a Krogan.
I actually was playing the Quarians quite a bit. Like, I loved their little robots. Like, the Quarian Engineer was my favorite class. The Engineer and the Infiltrator were my two favorites, because I could snipe, and I like to build shit. So it works.
I guess I just like to go in and kill.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. It's good. We need you always need a tank, and you need the person who stands back and picks everything off.
And that's what I like to play. And Krogans were just more hilarious, especially because their melee was just headbutt. They just headbutt. That's all it was, and I loved it. And so I know they're doing something similar like that in Dragon Age Inquisition. and I like some kind of co-op play, and I really hope it works.
Yeah. So it's like sometimes the force feed of multiplayer isn't necessarily a bad thing if it's done well. The Mass Effect 3 multiplayer was done well, but it's like then they force fed multiplayer into SimCity, and while it could have worked, like they could have made that really good, like the interaction between cities, fantastic. But you need to at least allow the cities to be self-sufficient. And if you do not allow that, it completely beats the point of playing SimCity. Like, one of the goals in the previous games was to make your city so self-sufficient that you're making a perpetual money machine. You want to be the good mayor. You want to keep improving the city. You want to make it better. So when you're extremely limited in what you're able to do, it's a major step backwards. And what we're seeing, what they're doing with The Sims 4, it's a big step backwards for the sake of monetization, for the sake of being able to partition it. Like, you put too much stuff in at first, I guess in their minds, it doesn't give them immediate DLC ideas. So it means that they actually have to that the production, like the producers and the people running it, need to think, which, God forbid, we can't have that. So, but it's like, I don't know, Sims 4, I love the series. Like, I actually have Sims 3, and yeah, I can be a real dick to The Sims, but most of the time I play it legitimately. Like, I actually try to do well in it. Like, I actually want to make the little guys have a great life. Like, and I have way too much fun building the houses. Like, the architecture part is great. And if I wanted to make the siding of my house a giant angry face, I could do that. You can't do that anymore because you can't control the textures anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a huge step backwards. I am very disappointed about that, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's pissed off at EA for this. So honestly, their whole thing saying that they didn't want to be the worst company in America anymore, they want to put the players first now. And they're just going back to that was just a placater. They just said that to placate the population, to try to drive up sales somehow. And so it's like, well, congratulations. Any people who you did convince that you were that your company was trying to change its ways, you just lost them again. Well done. And yeah, fool them once, shame on me. Fool them once, shame on you. I forget how this analogy goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like fool them once, and now you're not going to fool them again. You're just shooting yourself in the foot in the long run, and hopefully they're probably going to lose sales.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. And it's like, yeah, Activision is kind of screwing you over with the early DLC for Destiny, but you saw that. Not only did you see that one coming, but it looks like they're actually going to add content. It's like, Day 1 DLC, I don't mind as much because I know production on a game stops a couple months before, like, real production on the game stops, like, on new stuff, like, a bit before the game is released. So a lot of Day 1 DLC is stuff that they couldn't finish in time to get placed on the disc to get sent out through all the beta testing, all of that, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, I'm not too negative about that. Yeah, there. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Thank you very much. That was a brain fart. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like I have a hard time looking forward to the next Mass Effect game because I know EA is behind it.
But who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe it'll be good.
I hope so. It's I do not put it out of the realm of possibility. I put it out of the realm of probability, but I do not put it out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, so, I don't know. Let's see, what else we got here? what games have you been playing lately?
Um, I've been playing mostly Final Fantasy 14.
Okay.
I just got my level uh 110 weapon. So I'm
Level
really
110.
yes, 110 based off the level 95 one I got.
Please tell me that your character is not level 110.
No, my character is level 50. That's the max. This is just item level. They have item levels based on strength, and there's different ways to get stronger equipment. I didn't want to go through the grind fest for your other main weapon, so I just went the other route where you can get that level type of weapon by earning enough points to get letters and some kind of tombstone thingy, and then you get a weapon. Then you can take the weapon and use some sands at time to increase the level. It's basically still a grind fest, but it's an easier grind fest than the harder grind fest that I would have done doing it the other way.
Okay. Yeah, the reason why I couldn't get into Final Fantasy 11 is because of how absurdly grindy it is. This one, I kind of went. I heard it was a lot better than 11.
It is. It is a lot better.
That's good. But then again, when it's competing with Guild Wars 2 and WildStar, I choose them over Final Fantasy 14.
I'm a fan, so that's why I went with it. And the only real super grindy part is if you want to get your relic weapon and keep leveling it up, you have to go through all these ridiculous steps to get maybe a 2% chance to get that one drop that will be like 1 out of 20 to get everything you need. But there is a good thing. Like, if you go from... Now, I'm a white mage, so I go from, let's say, I get my Atma version, upgraded to Animus, but then as you're going that to some Z word, I don't know, I haven't gotten that far, to Novus and Zev, I don't know, but you can customize the stats on it.
Okay, that's not too bad.
So, you can do all this grinding, but you can decide what stats you want on that weapon. I mean, there's the usual other things, but you can... Like, if you prefer a critical rating, you can have a stronger critical rating if they give an option.
It's like, I don't mind grinding as much as long as it allows us to get what we want out of it.
Yeah. So, that's what I've been doing. I have some money saved up on Steam. I'm looking at 2 games, but I'm kind of waiting until the 7th. I'm looking at Alien Isolation, which, despite what IGN says, everything else has been pretty good, and that game looks freaking scary. I don't know about you, but an enemy that you cannot predict at all whatsoever, Alien Isolation, they programmed an alien that you cannot comprehend. His patterns are completely random. And the way he will kill you is very different. There's no set pattern to watch. He's unpredictable. So you're just hiding in a corner praying to God he doesn't turn around that corner and hope he goes that way so you can kind of crawl like a scared little person to get to the next area. And I love that.
That's actually what I heard. And it's like people who play video games complain about everything. Period. So it's like you have something that actually works really well, and that's something that makes the game challenging and unpredictable, and people are complaining about it.
Yeah, they're all complaining about it. Oh my god, like saying, well, it's too unpredictable. I just want to go, are you not entertained? You wanted this.
It's video gamers, they're never entertained.
Remember Alien Colonial Marines? You guys wanted an alien that was just like this. You got it. It's here. And then you're still not happy? I just wanted to go flip a table. Just, come on. You got the alien game you've always wanted. It's right there.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
From so far from what I'm seeing, they did a great job. Yes,
I like the comment Avenger posted. Alien may most likely end up running straight into a wall due to failed AI. We don't talk about that. Pretty much.
Yeah, but this alien doesn't do that. He will go into the vents. You have to listen. You have a little beeper device that tells you if it's nearby, but you don't know if it's above you or below you. You can't kill it. A flamethrower irritates it, but hey, at least it's gone for a few seconds, so you're not dead.
Oh no, don't shoot it. You're just gonna make it mad.
Yeah, pretty much. And you
Mongo like candy.
It just looks like a really good scary game. That's what it should be. Something that you can't fight, you can't kill, and you can't predict it.
That's good. That's a sign of a good survival horror game. Well, I don't really like those types of games just because I'm a scaredy cat. But those are signs of good games. Like my roommate plays them all the time, and he loves the old Silent Hill games because they mess with your mind. It's like you actually have to think a bit.
Yeah.
It's like you have to solve this puzzle while something's bearing down on you, so you got to solve it quick. Or it's like you can't just charge into a crowd guns a-blazing. A la Resident Evil 5 and 6. Like Resident Evil 4 was the last good Resident Evil game in my mind. Because it's like you're walking through a silent forest, looking just following. It's like it's much more linear, but the way they did the fights, it's like it wasn't really like psychological scary. It was more like, okay, you're constantly fighting for ammo. You need to. It's like, all right, do I want to actually kill this crowd, or do I want to conserve my ammo for the next fight, which I know is going to be giant chainsaw wielding psycho of death?
You have to choose wisely.
Exactly. It's like it makes you think, but about different things. While Resident Evil 2 was more like you're wondering which is going to jump out of the wall and send you down the bottomless abyss. While Resident Evil 4, you're more scared of running out of ammo at the worst possible time. And while that wasn't as scary, that still gave you the real big feeling of nervousness, like the feeling that you needed to organize everything, that you needed to fix, that you needed to prepare, you needed to plan your attack out. I guess you could say it was more strategy than horror, but it still gave you that fear that you're going to die.
Yeah, you could die, but you want to try to survive as long as you can.
Exactly. So it's like, which is why I think Resident Evil 4 was probably the last really good Resident Evil game.
And so that game's coming out, Alien Isolation. The other one I'm looking at that I hear so many good things about is Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor.
That one's already out, and it looks awesome. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
It's really good. I've seen playthroughs so far. I was a bit of a cynic because I've seen Lord of the Ring games and they never turn out too good. So I was like, I don't know.
I actually liked the Three Kingdoms one, it was the one where you're like playing it was the RPG where you're playing that party parallel to the main group. So it's like, this person will be your Legolas for today. This guy will be your Aragorn for today. Here's your dwarf. Enjoy. So while the game was cheesy in that aspect, so it was a bit of a letdown in, like I said, that aspect, the game itself was actually good. Like, I enjoyed playing it.
I never heard of that one.
It was like Lord of the Rings: The Third Age or something like that. It was a good game. Yeah, let me see if I can dig it up.
But with this game, that really got my eye. At first, I thought, oh, it's just Batman Arkham Asylum recolored from some of the things, because you can jump up, spy, you can do combos. But there's something called the Nemesis system, which is really good in Shadow of Mordor. And what the system is let's just say this orc kills you. Mm-hmm. He becomes captain. He gets a nickname for killing you based on where he died. And they have everything voiced.
Belgathor the player killer.
Yes, Orgathor the player killer. And he can slowly advance on the ranks depending on which people you pick off. And this is the guy that wants to kill you for some reason or another. Or if, say, you cut down an orc and you cut his face. Well, he didn't die, and guess what? He's planning revenge on you.
Well,
He's coming for you.
yeah. So it's like the nemesis system, I think they call it.
Yes.
I've heard good things, and to be honest, while unfortunately I already kind of have my money allocated for the next couple games, like I just picked up the new Smash Brothers, I picked up Hyrule Warriors, been playing WildStar, even though I don't really need to pay for that game monthly since I have enough cred to last me till the end of time, or at least the end of next year. But and also Destiny, so it's like I'm playing a lot of those games, and unfortunately, I wish I knew more about this game beforehand. Otherwise, I would have picked it up. But it looks, when I say it looks good, it is good. Like just from what I've seen, just from what I've heard, read about, and watched the playthroughs, the game looks extremely competent. Though I've heard it's an absolute beast in terms of graphic requirements.
I hope
Like if you want to play it on the computer.
I have a pretty good graphics card. I hope it can run it. I'm pretty sure it can. I mean, I've seen this thing run pretty good.
Well,
so
I'm saying if you want to like play it on like high texture, because one thing that I think was advertised about it was its absurd amount of texture quality. So I actually, like I said, I just rebuilt my computer, so I'm able to play a lot of these games. Like hell, I'm able to play Star Citizen on the highest graphical setting, even though it makes my roommate's laptop cry. Even though his laptops are very good, my computer can handle a lot of stuff. But it's making me worry that it might not be capable of playing it on the highest setting.
Maybe it will. Who knows?
Hope so.
Just gotta...
Well, I have until the holidays to find out because that's going to be on my holiday list now.
Another good thing that I really saw was kind of pretty cool. Like, let's say you're going on the map, you're doing missions, and all of a sudden you see one mission pop up, which is the revenge system. Another player who has the game, same as you, died to this orc. You have the option to avenge them and go kill that orc.
Alright.
Which, sure, I don't think there's really any multiplayer, but that's pretty cool. Like, one of my friends got killed by the orc, and I go and kill it to avenge him.
That's good.
That's the kind of thing I want to see. Not the SimCity kind, but this kind. Sure,
Yeah.
You're playing solo, but at the same time, there's little things that add your friends a bit to it. And you'd be like, oh yeah, you got killed by a butt bag? Hey, I killed him for you. I don't know about orc names. That's what I can come up with.
Alright. Makes sense.
I'm sorry, I couldn't think of a good orc name.
Rotface, there you go.
There we go. That's a better name.
Alright. But yeah, that game looks good, and it's one of the games that I want to play. Like I really want to dive into that one just because it looks awesome, and B, I've heard nothing but good things about it. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be getting that one eventually. But right now, my money is pretty much spent for the next 2 months.
Well, what games are you picking up?
Well, eventually I'm going to be picking up the Pokemon games, and I'm also going to be picking up the Smash Brothers for the Wii U. So those are the next two on my list, and like I said, I basically, there was a stretch of 3 games. Destiny, Hyrule Warriors, and Smash for the DS. That's basically all my money right there, since my situation. So it's like, so yeah, I'm basically playing those, and I also picked up Mercenary Kings on the PlayStation 4, which is, if you're a fan of the Metal Slug games and the Scott Pilgrim game, you'll probably enjoy this one, because it's the art style from the Scott Pilgrim game, and it feels like Metal Slug.
And it's called Mercenary Kings?
Mercenary Kings, yep, it's on the PlayStation Network. I'm not sure if it's on Xbox One, but like I said, I have it on the PS4. It is fun. It is a game that you can just waste time on, because you're just running around, shooting, blowing up everything as graphically as possible.
Looking at the video, it looks kind of funny.
It is. It's like I said, it is the art style from the Scott Pilgrim game, or like the Pirate Baby Cabana Battle Street Fight game, or not game, movie. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if it's that same guy, but it looks very similar. It's the cartoony anime-ish, comic-y, over-the-top violent, adorable game.
I if I ever get a PlayStation, I'll have to look at that. That looks actually pretty good.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah, where the hell is it? Mercenary Kings. Yeah, let me just pop this up on the screen. There you go, Mercenary Kings. Yeah, but yeah, it feels a lot like it's just your frantic craziness. It looks fun. Well, it looks fun. It is fun. So yeah. Oh god, they're all looking at me.
They're all oh god.
And of course, all their eyes blink. But yeah, the game's fun, and I definitely say it's worth checking out at least once.
Is it only on PlayStation or?
Like I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it'll let me know. It's on It is on Steam. It is on PS4. It does not say anything about the 360, but let's check out what the buy screen is. Yeah, like right now you could get it on Steam.
That's good. I'll have to check it out there sometime.
Yep. It's a fun game. Definitely worth it. But yeah, so. Oh yeah, going back on Final Fantasy. It seems that they are completely disregarding the turn-based system now. They went with they looked like they were going to go back with it with Final Fantasy 13, and they basically said, you know what, screw it, live action now, hooray, have fun. Which to me, it doesn't. That's not Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is turn-based, or with the action bar, or whatever the hell they want to call it. That's Final Fantasy to me. If I wanted to play an action game, I'd play a different game. It's I'm disappointed.
Yeah, it's a little disheartening, but at the same time, it wasn't originally Final Fantasy 15. It was originally Type 0. When it was first made, it was supposed to be a tie-in to Final Fantasy 13. There were supposed to be two games based in the same world. And you know how well 13 went, and this game was in development.
I actually like 13. I actually like the 13 battle system.
I'm a story nerd. I didn't like the fact that it didn't explain anything, and
it did. You just had to read a book.
Yeah, if I want to read a book, I'll go read a book. But if you're playing a game, just invest in me. But anyway, so they were doing it live action as a spin-off, but then I think they did something more and more and more, and they decided, you know what? We got all this work into it. It's a whole new world now. We'll make it Final Fantasy 15. So I don't think they were originally going to make it from the start. They just put it on there after working on it for so long. I grew up on Final Fantasy. I was a huge fan as a kid. Final Fantasy 2/4 on the Super Nintendo was the very first game I played. That's what got me into video games. That's what did it. And as much as I'm sad to see turn-based go, at the same time, we're moving on to an age where people can't do turn-based anymore for some reason. There's a majority can't, but we minority can, because there's a sense of strategy. You have to
it's the death of patience.
Exactly, the death of patience. And it's sad, because I'll never forget when I played and watched my mother play Final Fantasy IV up to the end, with that final boss, which they did not censor the sprite. I mean, the game was watered down, but they didn't censor the sprite, and I had nightmares for weeks. I dreamt that that crazy thing came into the shadows, abducted me, and ran off. And when I played it myself and learned how the turn base went and got the patience and planned how to kill it and did, it was like...
It felt like an accomplishment.
I accomplished something. And I moved on to other games and to Final Fantasy VI, which taught me clowns are evil. Don't ever trust them, ever. For the love of God, never trust clowns. I learned fear in that, but he took a long time to kill at the end. Because even in turn-based, he was unpredictable. But when I figured it out, and since I was so invested in that story, I felt so accomplished. Even if a little, like, did I really win? The world's still dead. But getting on from that, it was really good. It was really an accomplishment. And that's what some people aren't getting in games today. Not many people feel that accomplished anymore. They don't have the patience to plan, grind up their spells, figure out, okay, this boss is this. How do I go about it? Or challenge themselves and purposely go in 10 levels under and see if they could kill it with just some good strategy. That's what I used to do as a kid. If just go in 10 levels lower, see if I could do it. And sometimes I did it, and I was always proud when I could.
I see the difference for me is like I like being over leveled. I like running into areas and just stomping on their faces and collecting everything. It's like I worked my ass up to get to this level. I want to just unwind somewhere and just blow everything up.
Yeah, and he had a point. The person in the chat room, Avenger Junior, he has a good point. It was a game. The story didn't have room to breathe in itself. But with Final Fantasy 15, even if the battle system isn't turn-based, I really think the story is going to sell us. I don't know what the story is about.
But that's the thing. We don't know what the story is. If the story is good, great. But they might drop the ball on the story again. Kind of like how they did with Final Fantasy 13. Like, the game was gorgeous. Graphically, absolutely phenomenally beautiful. But the story was lacking. The areas were completely linear, which didn't feel like a Final Fantasy game at all. It wasn't until like the exact end where it felt like you had any exploration whatsoever. It's like Final Fantasy X. I think that started with Final Fantasy X, where they're going away from the giant open world that we saw in every other Final Fantasy previously.
Which is very disappointing, because that was the whole point. You explored.
Yeah. It's like they're going away from everything that made Final Fantasy Final Fantasy. And then they're going to wonder why the hell it's not selling.
Because people want to explore. Sure, they're not going right to the main story, but they find a village they never want to and go explore, talk to people, learn the lore, do things on their own. That's what a lot of people really enjoyed. I loved it. Back when I played Final Fantasy VI as a kid, when we got to the World of Ruin, and I could explore, I explored. I went everywhere. I did what I wanted on my own. I could choose who I wanted to pick up and why. I really liked it. And finding out all the story points and doing what I wanted before going to the end of the game. And that's what people are missing out now. You don't get to explore. Like, even Final Fantasy VII, which was their biggest game ever, had a lot of exploration and little things to do. Raising chocobos to go explore the parts that they...
But another thing I noticed, the game has gone away from the, like, what feels like hand-drawn art styles. Like, you aren't just running around... Like, say, Final Fantasy VIII, a lot of their backgrounds were beautiful. But it's like you could tell that they were just superimposed backgrounds and you're bound to run in a certain area.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you're still able to explore, and them doing that saved a lot of data, saved a lot of space on the data. Final Fantasy IX, same thing. Now with Final Fantasy, but with like 10, 12, 13, those were all more. They were open world in that you could run around in the area and fight enemies. Like you saw the enemies standing there rather than having really random encounters. Well, 10 had random encounters. Avenger, I believe, Eleven was the one who played Final Fantasy 11.
I played that a little bit. I made it up to level 13 and quit. I prefer Final Fantasy 14. I hated 11. 11 sucked. I'm sorry. I couldn't. But yeah, it was it was very live action.
Yeah, and also on another point on that, the system that like I said, I haven't really played Final Fantasy 11 in about almost a decade now. It just the game was just way too grindy. But the battle system that you're thinking of, that you're mentioning, the way you're describing it makes it feel like Guild Wars 2, where it was. It's like, yeah, you could target enemies, but you could dodge attacks. All the abilities were really targetable. Same thing with WildStar. WildStar was it's like you see where you're attacking, and if the enemy's not in there, you miss them. Otherwise, you shoot them. Say like with a gunslinger, or with the freaking spell slinger, which is why I play in WildStar. You have your different attacks, you have your different ranges of each of your abilities, and if the enemy's not in there, and you could dodge. You could dodge a certain amount of time before your stamina has to recharge. I believe twice.
I don't remember any of this in 11, but I played as a kid, and I didn't have the patience back then. You know, shocker, I was a very impatient kid, so I really don't remember much on the battle system. It's been a decade for me, too, since I played. It was, but in 14, it's something similar. Oh, he showed a video.
Let's take a look-see.
Yeah, because I don't remember the battle system. It's been so long.
Hey there.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, now I'm beginning. Though I played on the PC. I just hated. They had some pretty good consequences, though. If you died and you would lose experience points, and you could sometimes level down. I remember.
Yeah, death had an EXP penalty. I accumulated about like 5 billion EXP in debt before I even left the first area. Which is probably why it felt like so grindy.
Maybe, yeah. But they also made it so you could party up back then. That you had to go into groups.
Yes.
Not like games today.
Which is fine all in of itself, but what if there's no one on at the time that you played? You're stuck either doing nothing, or you're stuck trying to solo everything. And when you're at an early level, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's good in theory, difficult to execute.
But you know, as we're going back to Final Fantasy 15 there, I don't know about you, but I find it very cool to go into a car that's like a sports car and go driving around in the land to explore it and go get out of your car and fight enemies. I know it's not the most Final Fantasy in the world, but I have to admit I was amused. I was very amused. And
Are you not entertained?
I will go and drive in a car with my party members to go explore and go kill enemies. It's like, oh, there's a monster in the way. All right, I'll get out of the car. Let's go kill it, and then we can go drive and get to the next gas station. I mean, come on, you gotta find that. That's kind of funny.
The game does look interesting, but like I said, it has it's basically removing everything that made Final Fantasy to me.
Yeah, but who knows?
Aside from the pretty graphics.
It is very pretty. But who knows, maybe it'll prove us wrong. I really want them to prove us wrong, because I want to see Final Fantasy thrive.
Yeah, me too. Hell, I still play Final Fantasy 7 and 8 on Steam. When they came out with those two games on Steam, I was so happy. It's like, you know what? I'll pay another $15 for this game. I liked it that much.
They also have Final Fantasy IV as well.
Yeah, yes they do. Well, I didn't. I liked 4. I liked the older ones, but I really enjoy 7 and 8. Those are my two favorites by far. Well, followed by 6. But yeah, all of them. But it's like all of them had shared elements. All of them had the turn-based system. While in 7 and 8 they had the attack bar, which still made it turn-based, but they made it a little live-action-y, or a little like the timing of your attacks mattered rather than just setting everything and just going by your speed stat. Now your speed stat actually determines how fast that thing goes up, and haste really matters now. So it's like it did require reaction speeds, but it was still felt turn-based. You don't see that anymore. Like you thought it. I thought it was going to come back in 13, and I really liked 13's battle system. Unfortunately, they just, like I mentioned in the chat, they just dropped the ball on everything else. And with 15 completely disregarding the battle system now, it's like they're trying to reinvent the wheel when they already have one of the best systems out there. So I'm like, it's like I'm not as excited as I should be about this game.
I am a little excited, but just gotta wait and see. I just want a good story. I want to get lost in a good Final Fantasy. It's been a couple years. 14's doing it a bit, but come on, guys, get me a good Final Fantasy game.
Yeah. It's like, honestly, that's one of the reasons why I moved to Fire Emblem. Personally, I can't stand tactic games, but I like this one. Go figure. The reason why I got into it is because they took away something that I hated, which is good. I hated the permadeath, but in this game they give you the option to play that way if you want to, or you can not have permadeath. So say you make a mistake, you aren't paying for it the rest. You make a mistake in the first fight for some reason, you're not paying for it the rest of the game. Which is how the other games felt to me. So, yeah, but now I'm able to play it without feeling too bad. It's like, okay, I made a mistake. Oh well, now I'm not stuck till the end of the game without this character.
Yeah, and plus you don't have to worry about your favorite character dying and feeling very bad.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like, so like basically the direction. So what I'm trying to say is basically the direction that they're doing with Final Fantasy is pushing me to other games. That's not good. It's like, I've played Final Fantasy for so long, and you're like, and they're changing everything again, and change isn't necessarily bad. Like what we were complaining about earlier with Blizzard, how we were complaining that they aren't changing anything, and not trying to go with a new IP. But it's like, you need to keep some things familiar while changing other things. But you can't really change the core mechanics if you want someone to buy a Final Fantasy game. When they see Final Fantasy, you think of a certain set. If you want to make an IP, definitely go ahead, make an IP. But don't call it Final Fantasy if you're not going to make it Final Fantasy. Which is what Final Fantasy 15 is feeling like. It's like they should make that a new IP. That way they can go with it and not piss off the crowd who likes Final Fantasy.
Yeah, you make a good point.
So it's basically like making a Diablo game first person.
That wouldn't work.
So it's like a first person Diablo. Well, you're just making a Gauntlet game essentially, or a Hexen. Now there's a data reference right there. Hexen. But yeah, so it's like, I don't know. Final Fantasy 15 looks like a great game if it wasn't under the name Final Fantasy. Which is what a lot of people said about Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah. But speaking of different things, like we were talking about before, you said you were talking about you playing a lot of Destiny.
Yes.
I hear they made a change in Destiny recently.
Yes, the loot cave is gone now. It's been gone for a little over a week now, and they changed the item system around a bit. In that, when you have things that drop, they're basically unidentified items of a certain color. How it was, where you could say get a purple item, which is your epic / legendary color in the game. You take it to the Deckard Cain of the game to identify it. You stay a while and listen, and then he pops you back an item, and most of the time it came out as something worse than the color that you got. So it's and they were defending it it makes items fun. It makes item getting fun. No, it doesn't. It just pisses you off. It doesn't add excitement. It doesn't add happiness. Especially when the chance of that happening was so high. It's say I bring back 10 purple engrams to the guy. 7 of them ended up being blue or green, which is not good. It's not only were you... It's you're dealing with multiple dice rolls. It's if you want to get a good item, not only do you need to get the random chance that a good item orb will drop for you, then you got to take it to this guy and then roll again. It's
It's not that fun. You're not really getting a reward. It's
you're not.
You get a ticket and you pray to God you get the thing you want.
Yeah, you're generally seeing if a lottery ticket falls from the sky, rather than say the $100 bill falling from the sky.
Whatever happens just doing something and then you get a weapon that drops? Whatever happened to that?
Because it seems that that's too easy, or it's not different enough, or whatever logic they used to cause them to do this makes no sense. But now they changed it. Whatever color engram that drops for you, you have a chance to either get something of that color or better. But they lowered the chance of good ones dropping. So they basically took 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Or 1 step forward, 1 step back. Because 2 steps back was the whole random system that they had in the first place. So it's like that person. It's you're doing a good thing. You're going in the right direction, and he turns around and kicks a puppy at the same time. It's are you kidding me? Unfortunately, the game's still damn fun to just run around and start shooting things, but it's it leaves this bad taste in your mouth.
It doesn't sound too much fun. I haven't played Destiny. I've heard a lot of things. I've heard that you could... I saw a video that basically... Ways to get best equipment. Join game. Do match. Suck really bad.
Yeah. They actually... It looks like they kind of fixed that too, because now it's completely random. There are times where, the lower guy does get something and the winner doesn't get anything, but it seems a lot more sporadic now. So I think they just changed some of the numbers around for that one.
There's a new loot cave.
Kinda. It's not nearly as good as the last one, of course. But
the fact
there are ways to do it.
The fact that people are looking for these loot caves, they need to kind of wake up a little bit.
Yeah, when you have... It's you're going to have people trying to find ways to exploit the system regardless. But when you make the system such a way where 90% of the player base is trying to do that, you kind of need to relook at your system. It's I understand you don't want to make it a loot waterfall like Borderlands or Diablo, but you need to open the faucet a little bit. You can't just make it drip.
Yeah, they said that
turn the faucet open a little bit. Yeah, eventually it might the sink might flood, but that's why people want to play it. You got it's like they're putting a little carrot on a stick in front of you. you can't put it a mile away. It's like, yeah, you can't put it a foot from their face, but you also can't put it a mile away either. They also changed a few things around in regards to some of the materials that drop too. Like they changed the rarity on some of them, which, okay, fine, but when some of the weapons and armor require those to finish, to make them harder to find or put them into... Oh no, what they did was they turned them from blue quality to purple quality. They changed 2 of them from blue to purple, which means that they are much harder to find, but now they can appear as the result of the purple engram. So it's like... So and actually, they did take 1 step forward and 2 steps back.
Why didn't I heard that they oh man, like why couldn't I heard that they were inspired a little bit by Borderlands and Borderlands 2. But loot like rains from the sky and you could pick whatever loot you want and it's also random.
God forbid.
You could like a shotgun with a scope. It's kind of useless for a shotgun, but why the hell not?
Yeah. But it's like it gives you so many options, and it allows you to play around with things. Like try it sometime. But it's like but when you're dealing with a random number generator, you kind of need a higher drop rate to basically not piss everyone off. It's like rather than feeling, it's like it makes a bad drop hurt. It shouldn't hurt. It's like it's a disappointment. But it shouldn't feel like you're getting punched in the face. It's like all that work only to basically get a foghorn. Womp womp. Or the sad trombone.
Yeah, the sad trombone.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like the crates in Team Fortress, where you end up actually paying money for a key only to get something that's absolutely stupid. So it's like, the only one that you have to blame is yourself. This one, it's like, yeah, you're not paying anything, but you're investing time, you're investing effort, you're investing intangibles just to do this. And then they turn around and basically spit in your face. It's like, why? Why are you... It's like they hate their player base. It's like, I understand you're not happy at everyone for trying to bypass your loot system. Well, then don't make your loot system so terrible that people want to do that. It's like, you're going to have people who do that regardless, of course. But you don't want 90% of the player base to be encouraged to do that because the system is so bad.
Yeah, you don't want them to do that. I mean, I would have probably just quit. By then, I would have just gone. It would have not been worth it.
Like I said, I still have fun with the game for the most part. The game is beautiful. The mechanics in the game are really good. Like the actual combat mechanics, they're good. It's one of the best I've seen in a shooter for a while. So they basically took what was good with Halo and improved it in terms of making it more fluid. There's not much lag in the abilities. The servers, when they're not being attacked by some troll group, are actually pretty good. There isn't that much lag. Yeah, you got people cheating online with pulling and with pulling their modem cord in and out just to give themselves a moment of invincibility. But that happens in every online game.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the game is good. The game mechanically is good. But there are some glaring issues that prevent the game from being as good as it can be. Like the kind of crappy story and the really player unfriendly loot system.
They fix all that and maybe put in the actual story that I wanted. Maybe I'll think about it in the future.
Well, kind of like with Final Fantasy 13, I am reading all the extra stuff that they added. Reading all that stuff helps, but it doesn't make... But it's like, you might want to add some monologue or something like that. Like, here, have Peter Dinklage explain it. In like the little loading screens, he sometimes explains what you're doing. That's good. That's how you need to convey it to the player. It's like you need to. I'm not saying spoon feed it to us, but you need to make it in such. You need to set it up in such a way that it actually can be conveyed without having to go to like a lore website. The lore website should be for extras, not the core story.
You shouldn't have to be going through the extras to get the core story.
Bingo.
That's when you failed at that point.
Yeah, it means that your delivery isn't as good, which is a shame because Peter Dinklage is a good voice, is a great actor, and he does have some good lines. Unfortunately, they're in this game they're kind of delivered badly, but for the most part he does good.
Yeah, it's not his fault. I mean, you can't blame him for what the voice director tells him how to read it.
Exactly. And it does kind of feel like he's just saying them for a paycheck. But for the most part, the game is good. Like, I would give the game a 7 out of 10. Like a legitimate 7 out of 10, not like your IGN 7 out of 10's crappy. No, 7 out of 10 is above average to me.
Yeah.
7 out of 10 is above average. 5 out of 10 is dead middle. So when I finish up this website I'm working on, that's the rating system. You're going to see a lot of 5 and 6s out of 10, but don't think those as bad. If you see something like 8 or 9 out of 10, that's a good game. If you see something 6 or 7, that's an average game. 7 slightly above average.
And I guess it is slightly above average, but
it is. But it's like it's good. It's good in its core mechanics. It's poor in its story. It's poor in its loot system. The game mechanics are great. Music's good, and the graphics are beautiful. So it has three good things, 2 really bad things. So it basically averages out as slightly above average to me.
hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to get better at $20 a pop. Thank you, Activision.
Yeah, that's becoming the norm, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I don't like it, but oh well. And honestly, now when you notice Nintendo even getting in on the DLC business, you know that's kind of just how it's going to be now. I don't like it, but if you want to experience anything, you kind of have to do it. It's like it's the game gods do not like us at the moment.
Maybe one day.
One day. But yeah. Well, now that our time is slowly winding to a close for today, any final thoughts?
Nothing too much. I think the only thing I could really think about, because I've talked about everything I wanted to talk to tonight, the only thing I can really think about is bring me more superhero games. Come on, guys.
Yep, I agree.
Let me play a game where I can pretend to have a normal job that increases the character's abilities so they can go out at night and be a superhero. I don't have to be Batman. Not everyone has to be Batman, but let me go do something. Come on. Stop disappointing me.
Yep, I agree. Bring back City Heroes, that's what I say.
Yeah, bring it. If it's true, bring it back. Come on. Don't disappoint us here.
Bring back City Heroes. EA still sucks. And Destiny keeps shooting itself in the foot.
Yeah.
Yep. And and also live action Final Fantasy is not Final Fantasy, and Project Titan. Oh well.
Oh well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for sticking around tonight for the PTC free play. Hopefully, we get another actual episode of Pass the Controller coming up soon. We'll probably have some new topics to talk about. If whoever watches, feel free to send us suggestions. Feel free to Feel free to toss me a comment on Twitch or on YouTube, or contact me somehow in game, because you might have seen my name on here on occasion. Just look me up on PlayStation Network as at K7 Sniper, or on Twitter at K7 Sniper. Feel free to. Hope you enjoyed our conversation. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. And look forward to entertaining you guys again. Thank you very much for watching today. And till next time.